So for the TGO challenge, let's take a look at all the equipment that's being brought, starting with the backpack. The backpack is a Z-Pack's Arc Blast. A couple of extra little things added, two pockets on the front to let me hang on to cell phone and GPS and things like that. I put on the outside one very small filter bright light that's really good if you're going through tunnels and things like that in some places. And then inside that I put a Z-Pack's liner pack. It's Cuban fiber as well, but it keeps everything super dry, because I have found in the past sometimes a little moisture gets into the pack. So to go with that is going to be a couple of Gatorade bottles, which will sit on these add-ons that I put on the side, again from Z-Pack's. And out in the back I have a stretch place where I can keep waterproofs and things like that. You have to be a bit careful with that stretch place on the back, because I have actually torn it and that's been replaced already once. So moving into the tent, again Cuban fiber, single wall duo tent from Z-Pack's, weighs about 450 grams, but I've had it modified now and it goes with Eastern carbon fiber poles, which don't weigh very much at all. And I'm happy with that, because I can do a standalone if I have the poles. If you don't have the poles, you really have no choice but to guy out and use pegs. For the hiking, I have the Diamond Z poles, which are carbon fiber again. They're about 120 grams, and they've been pretty reliable. I actually broke one and they were happy to replace it, so thanks to Diamond for doing that. But bringing poles on long hikes, everybody does it now. It makes sense. Reduces the workload quite a bit. So that's the first of the two of the big three: the tent, Z-Pack's, and the backpack is Z-Pack's as well. You notice I put my mug here. I just attach a mug on the outside. There's nothing better to have available than a mug for a nice hot cup of tea. I'm going to skip right over to then what do I sleep with. There's a Neolite pad, and there I'd recommend getting a short one, because you can save a bit of weight, and if you don't mind your legs hanging off the end, that works really well. I have a Montbell Downhugger 900 number 5, which is super light, good down to about 0, but at 0 I have found that one really wants to put on a little bit of an extra layer to keep warm, or maybe some sleep socks. Inside, people vary on what to bring in terms of pillows and stuff. In this case I've got a little mech fluffy pillow, and I've got a silk liner that I use if I'm going to be out for a long time, just to try to keep the sleeping bag a little bit cleaner. The pad's gone into a new little bag just to give it a bit more protection. Moving over to waterproofs and wet gear. Obviously the first thing you want to do is keep your pack dry. So I just bought a Ultracell pack cover that does a great big job. It's a Sea to Summit one. Weighs nothing, and it really does a great job. I've used it on various hikes. To stay wet is not a good thing, so to stay dry is good. So how do you stay dry? Well, you want a good jacket. It doesn't rain all that often on trips, so I have again a Z-Pack's Cuban fiber jacket. So you save about 200 grams by going super light. Any high quality rain jacket's good though. On this trip on the TGO challenge, going to try a rain skirt. This rain skirt probably about 50 grams, and I think that'll do the job. So instead of bringing 200 grams worth of Gore-Tex, cut it right back. A pair of overliner gloves, again went with the jacket. A pair of Dirty Girl gaiters, first time going to try them, so it'll be interesting to see how well they are, but they come well raved about online. A pair of gloves. I've got a little pair of flip over running gloves, and they're not super good, but they just keep the chill off on a cold morning. And then I have what I call a warm bag, and in my warm bag is obviously things that I might need to make sure I never get cold. Starting from my head, this is one of my favorite pieces of gear, Black Rock Limited Edition down hat. Really great in the morning or around camp when it's cool. And a buff, never go without a buff ever. A buff is a great thing to have. And I've got a Montbell puffy jacket, and I don't remember, I think it's a 900 fill. Again, very, very light, but very, very warm. I bring also a little Montbell wind jacket, weighs almost nothing, and that's really good if you're out in a super windy day, or even if you get light rain, that works well. Some people forget that there may be bugs, so if there are any chance of bugs, I bring a bug jacket. And it's a little bit of a bulky thing, but boy, if you have bugs and no bug jacket, it's miserable. Don't forget to bring the DEET that goes with it. And I've stuffed all of that into an Eagle Creek Sil Nylon bag so that everything in my warm bag stays in one place. Everything in the rain bag goes in another. No, it's a Cuban bag I have here at the bottom for all the wet stuff. And then we can move on to, let's see, a cook set. So I'm not going to open up the cook set, but essentially two choices. One is you cook with alcohol, or you get an MSR stove. Looking at trying out the new MSR integrated stove that's less wind problematic. Either that or alcohol with meths. And so I keep the two separate. There's the pot stove, anything to light the stove with, and fire and fuel in one bag, and then essentially my kitchen set is in the other. And one of the things I have here is a Sawyer squeeze for water filtration, some little bit of camp suds. No, those are meths, but camp suds normally should be in here too. And a very useful thing to have, let's see what we can find, is a little stand for the canisters if you're using an MSR stove. Soap suds, and a great thing to have for cleaning up dishes. So that's all you need essentially. There's a spork in there somewhere to eat with. So that's the whole kitchen. If we look at toiletry and medical kit, I've got a small medical kit. I bring the absolute minimal in the first aid kit. Mostly it's blister pads and a few band-aids and some tape. I have brought also an elastic ankle brace that was really good when I got some tendonitis, some Achilles tendonitis, so that's a good thing. Lots of people bring all kinds of emergency stuff. I keep mine down to one little jar of things, which I don't think you can open with one hand. We'll get that open. Stand by one. So you can see it's a very small little kit. They took an old medicine bottle, but inside it has everything you could possibly need in the event of an emergency. Starting with things like dental floss, which are great if you need it as dental floss, or you ever need some thread, it's good. A little bit of Gorilla Tape, a tick extractor, which nowadays seems to be the right thing to bring along. I can bring a few extra blister things in there as well. I have a patch in case a sleep pad has a problem, and that has happened. And I bring one little Swiss Army knife that's very, very handy. A little bit of Zovirax, nail clippers. There's a pin in there somewhere and a safety clip, and everything goes in there, and that's just out of the way. So I highly recommend taking that approach. For a toiletry kit, the idea, I've bought these new Sil Nylon things, as you can see, and they weigh nothing, so that's good. Let's open it up. Sorry about that. So inside I've got a quarter of a camp towel. I bring a sponge, deodorant. I just squeeze it out and put it into a little thing I got at the dollar store. That's the way you stay clean. On one side I've got a tongue scraper and toothpaste and whatever I need just to keep when I go into the bathroom. Tiny little bit of shampoo and things like that. But all this should keep it down under about 300 grams, and you really don't need much more. One of the things I just skipped over here was, if you always bring a knife, but bring a small one. You don't really need much of a knife, and one little flip knife will do the job. My clothes all fit into one. Again, I'm trying this new Eagle Creek stuff, because it means at night all you have to do is get out this 1, 2, or 3 little bags, and that has all the layers I need. So if I take out everything I wear, then all I need is, what's the backup for that? 2 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of underwear, icebreakers or such. I bring 2 extra base layers. So I've got a base layer that I assume I'm wearing, short sleeve, 1 extra short sleeve one, and then 1 long sleeve one. Those can all be layered up and give you 3 layers if you want. But you can mix and match as needed. On top of that would be 1 puffy, and it'd be either the Montbell one or the Arc'teryx one. And then on the outside of that we put the rain or wind jacket. So essentially you're up to 5 layers total if you need it. If you don't need it, you take stuff off. Keep it really simple. I have what I call a ting bag, and the little ting bags I get again from Zed Packs. Straightforward. It'll actually clip on the front of the pack if I want, but it'll probably go inside. Just bought a new moleskin to make some notes. Found the smaller moleskin too small for making any decent notes. Pen, bottle of Muscal. That should go over with wherever that other thing is, wherever the bug jacket is. And for a light, I've got the Petzl little E-light, and I've used that several times. Really good. You can actually lock it in the off position, and of course it'll do everything you need at night. Don't need anything more than that. I keep one of these in my zip tag, and inside that ting bag will go any other tings, such as battery and cables and any of the little knickknacks you end up having to bring. And essentially that's all I bring with me, and I hope this is helpful. Any questions, let me know.